Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's my Friday. Hip hip hooray. And it's 5:26 a.m. What's up? Ugh. All right. Well, let's do this. Let me take a wild guess. Episode 26, I think, maybe. Let's see. Waking up and slurping coffee with Bill. Let's see how off I am. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Let's see. Computer's working good this morning. That's good. It's 3/19/25. And we are on episode. I'm way off. Episode 24. Waking up and slurping coffee with me. So we'll just hold off on that for a minute. Cheers. Oh man, I had a rough night last night. So I went to bed about 7 p.m. yesterday. I was really tired. Just working a lot, gets to you, catches up to you. And plus, just my age, everything, life, get tired, okay? It's just what it is. Probably low testosterone, all that good stuff, Went to bed at 7 p.m., woke up at midnight, and then the what ifs started kicking in again, because that's what happens, I guess, when you're sober, because you don't have nothing keeping you down, nothing keeping you asleep and passed out. So I woke up after 5 hours sleep and dealt with the what ifs for like 2 hours. And I finally fell back asleep. I had to get up and come out here and try to sleep sitting up. That didn't work. So got back up, went back to the room, laid down for another half hour, and finally fell back asleep. But the what ifs were pretty heavy. I was mostly thinking about just the future, trying to kind of plan for my future, and the obstacles and hurdles that are already here and will be there in the future. And a lot of it's no fault of mine. It's just the world we live in has become very difficult, okay? Compared to how it was when I was younger, the world's become very difficult. I mean, not in the sense that living life has become more convenient, okay, because we got technology now, got internet. That in that sense, it's not as hard, okay. What I'm talking about is survival, okay. There's just like the major ones, like the cost of living is unreal, okay, compared to how it used to be when I was younger. And I think it's just everything evolved to where it is today, and it's almost to like a breaking point, I think, like where I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, the what ifs. You just think about worst case scenarios. I'm kind of pessimistic as it is, I wasn't going to post this morning because honestly, I've just been kind of like in kind of a pessimistic, negative mode lately, depressive mode lately, and I just haven't wanted to post because I know that it's going to probably be just another negative, pessimistic, depressing type post. So I just kind of chilling out on posting vlogs lately just because I don't want to just be posting all negative bullshit, right? Because that doesn't help anything really. It doesn't. It's better to have a optimistic outlook, even though there's not a lot of really good things happening right now. It's just survival mode for me. At least I speak for myself. But I decided to do this one this morning just because I had a lot on my mind last night when I'm laying there flopping around for 2.5 hours with the what ifs. And so what I was saying was like the cost of living is way out of control, at least here in California. I mean, just the cost of gas, food, and housing is going to keep most people taxed as it is. You know, it just keeps most people tapped out. And all we can do is just work to pay all these bills, you know? And then I was also thinking, you know, man, all it takes is one illness, one serious illness or an injury, and could just screw your whole deal up. Unless you have a good job that's got really good health benefits, or you're so poor that you can uh, get Medi-Cal here in California, but I make too much to get Medi-Cal, and my company I work for, their insurance sucks. It sucks. And, you know, it's almost like getting set up for like a disaster almost. Like it's just a matter of time. When you're younger, you don't have to worry about it as much, but when you start getting in your 50s, you start thinking about medical stuff. You know, you just think about the future, like, okay, you know, what if you get really sick or you get injured or anything? Anything. It's gonna rake you over the coals unless you got a job with good insurance. And unfortunately, I don't. So I was worrying about that. It's like we're walking on eggshells these days, man. Even when you're doing good, even when you think you're doing good, you're literally just walking on thin ice. It seems like, you know, walking very gingerly and just hoping you can make it to the other side, you know? That's what it's like. Man, it's just this whole deal that this country has become is it's just you're either really poor, then you have medical insurance at least though, right? But you ain't got nothing, or you're really rich, or you're really well off. You don't have to worry about it. You can pay for whatever. You know, it's like the middle class is we're the I'm the middle class. We're the ones that are getting screwed. It seems like because everything's expensive. We have to worry about it. We're not rich. You know, rich people, they don't have to worry about stuff like that. It's to them, it's a drop in the bucket. You know, the middle class and the poor people, it's an issue. You know, it's a big issue. Where are you gonna sleep? Where are you gonna eat? Where are you gonna shower? Where are you gonna do this? Where are you gonna do that? You're gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna be comfortable. What is it, right? What's the future like? All these what ifs, you know. So I'm sitting there, laying there, all this stuff going through my head. I almost what if myself out of this place again. Like And then I'm sitting there thinking, wow, if I sell this, it's going to be responsibility to keep this place, responsibility to keep working for this, everything my whole life. It's just like all this stuff it's on my back. Okay. It's on my back. It's on my health. And, it's just a lot of responsibility being a responsible adult and wiping your own ass, these days. And the days of, going to work and going out and having a good time, or going out and spending money on yourself, on whatever, on whatever, a car, clothes, music equipment, all that, whatever, those, and not having to worry about all this stuff. I mean, it's like just to rent a room, not even have your own apartment, your own place, just rent a room. Here in California, you're going to spend up towards $1,000 a month. Okay. It's just ridiculous, man. And, then I was also thinking about, these rich people, they don't give a crap. They don't care. They don't care about anybody, man. Most of them, they don't. They just care about themselves, enriching themselves even more. Because they're not sharing the wealth with the people that got them there. I'm starting to sound like a liberal, I know, but it is what it is, okay? There's things about liberalism I do like, okay? There is. But there's things about Democrats and liberals I really don't like. And that's the number one is giving our country to the world, just giving everything away. No, it goes to us. And that's the one problem that I have with them. But as far as the rich sharing the wealth, that concept, I think I'm in line with that, because the way it is now, we're not living the dream. I feel like a slave, man, and I'm not getting rewarded enough. And I'm trying to think of other ways I can do better, and it's out there. It's just I haven't figured it out yet, and I'm getting older, and it's getting harder to have the motivation to do such a major thing, So all this what ifs I had last night, I make pretty good money for what I do. I'm just be straight up. I'm at the higher end of the pay scale for what I do. Okay. So it's not that I'm not making a lot of money. I'm making good money. I'm making more money now than I ever have in my life. Okay. And it's just barely enough to get by for me by myself. Okay. With my small place, just barely. Okay. So, I'm laying there thinking all this stuff. And I'm like, man, basically all you can do is try to keep yourself as healthy as you can. So stopping drugs and alcohol is definitely a wise choice, although you don't have that thing to help you get through life, by numbing yourself to the what ifs and stuff like that. But, you just have, in my case, I think health is number one, because without health, everything else, if you have bad health and you can't perform, you can't do daily stuff, your whole deal will collapse. It's as simple as that, because it's a dog eat dog world out here. And a lot of people are on their own trip, and they don't really want to help anybody else. They just want to help themselves for the most part. That's just the world we live in. People are barely surviving themselves. They don't have the time, the money, the resources to be helping a lot of people. So we're all in the same boat for the most part. All of us poor and middle class people. The rich, they're off on their own. The well off, they're off on their own now. Some people just got it, okay? But most people don't. So, you know, a lot of people, most of us, middle class and lower, we're tapped out, man. And there's not much help out there. You're kind of on our own, okay? Most people are. We're just on our own. You have to fend for yourself. And it's a dog eat dog world. It's a hard world. And there's no limits because really we're just a bunch of monkeys that don't know what the hell we're really doing. We're just doing our jobs. But as a society, as a whole, I'm not sure we know what the hell we're doing, man, because from what I've seen when I was younger to where we are now, it's like we don't know what the hell we're doing, okay, in this country. At least here in America, it's like, what happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? A lot happened. Bullshit happened. A lot of scoundreling, a lot of behind the scenes deals, a lot of greed, and you know, just there's a lot of bad people. There's a lot of bad people out there, and there's a lot of good people too. And I would say it's 50-50, man. And you know, there's a lot of people that capitalized on a lot of people. There's a lot of people that took advantage. A lot of people have figured stuff out. Now they're well off. A lot of people just didn't, you know, they were, even though they're responsible, they didn't make it to that next level up. And I'm one of them. But then, you know, the point I'm trying to make, I know I'm kind of scatterbraining it here, but the point I'm trying to make is like, I could like, what if myself to death, really worry myself to death. And it's not going to really change anything. So I think in my case, the best thing I could do is just let the what ifs run their course. Just let my worrying do its thing. And at the end of the day, just take it one day at a time and try to make the best choices I can for my future. Everybody should be doing it like that, you know, and that's about all you can do, really, you know. And, you know, it's just, it's about enough to drive you crazy. It's about enough to make you crazy, really, worrying about survival these days all the time. My advice to people, if I could redo, is be a minimalist, man. Be a minimalist. Don't have a lot of cars. Don't have a lot of stuff. Maybe don't even have your own pad. Rent a room. It's a lot more simple. It's a lot more safe. And you might be able to enjoy your life a little bit more if you don't have a bunch of stuff anchoring you down that you have to worry about. Okay. And that's part of the issue I'm having these days is I have a lot on my plate. It's a lot to worry about and it stresses me out and it gets the what ifs in my head to the point where it's almost driving me crazy. Okay. And it doesn't help. I'm isolated all the time nowadays, you know, and apparently it's like that for a lot of people these days. Everybody got isolated. We're not helping each other anymore, at least emotionally, you know, at least in my case. I don't know. That's what I'm hearing on the internet, that this is not just the case. It's not just me. It's happening with a lot of people. People don't have friends anymore. People are isolated. People are bummed out. People are having to do everything themselves on their own with no emotional support. That's kind of what I'm gathering. And well, in my case, yeah, that's, you know, that's pretty much what's going on here. I'm doing it all solo. you know, minus my worker, but I'm paying him. So, you know, it's kind of a hard world, man, and it's rough when you're out there on your own, you know. And if you don't have to worry about it, you got a family, you got or a partner that you're going through this life together, and you're doing really well. Count yourself blessed, okay, and lucky, because you know if you have like emotional support there system, that does help a lot, because it's nice to have someone to talk to, someone to go through the journey with you. It makes your life a little bit easier than to try to do it all alone, you know. Then you get a little more worried when you're alone and you don't have that emotional support there, you know, rooting you on, or, you know, helping lift you up when you feel down, you know. So, you know, that's pretty much all I wanted to say on this one. It was a rough night. I did manage to get enough sleep, though, eventually. And I'm glad it's my Friday. And, you know, as usual, I got way too much to do, and it's overwhelming, and it sucks. And, you know, I'm just going to have to take it one day at a time and try not to overthink everything to where I start getting in panic mode like I did last night, start almost panicky, like, I'm freaking out, right? So, switch gears. Elon's awesome. He got the astronauts back to Earth. Unlike that corrupt asshole idiot, Joe Biden, that left them up there for dead. Abandoned them. It wasn't a priority. He just abandoned them. What a scumbag. I can't believe people supported that guy. But props to Elon and SpaceX for going and rescuing those poor people in outer space on not on private party money, okay? That was not government money that did that. So props to Elon and SpaceX for making that happen. And if you still hate Elon, you know, you got to give him some props for that number, because he saved two people's lives there like that. And you know what? That goes to show, you know, the character of him. I don't understand why people hate him so much. And you know, I'm seeing people going around keying these Teslas, these disgusting people that are going around, and there's videos of it on internet, and it just makes me sick. These scumbags going around just keying the crap out of these Teslas, man. Just stop that shit, man. You know, come on, you people are sick in the head. But anyways, I just wanted to give a shout out to SpaceX for doing that, because that was a pretty amazing deal there, you know. And for Joe Biden to just abandon them out there like that, when there is ways to do it, and he didn't, because in spite of Trump and Elon. What a scumbag, man. What a scumbag. A lot of those people on Joe Biden's team, scum. The things they allowed to happen here, okay, on their watch. You know, all these criminals coming into this country and stuff just for the votes, and leaving astronauts in outer space just for dead like that. I'm so glad they're out of there. You know, also, Trump doing a good job. Like I said in my other video, you know, it might be too little too late, because America has gotten so bad over the last few years that I don't know, man, if Trump could even save this country, man. He can do things that'll help, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, man. This country is run down to the ground already before Trump even got in there, you know. And of course, the liberal and Democrats are going to blame everything on him if he doesn't fix everything. If he doesn't fix this country, of course they're going to blame it on him. But no, actually, they're the ones to blame, because they're the ones that run this shit down to the ground, because they've been in power for how long now? Minus the 4 years Trump was in there. There you go. There's the ones that let shit go and get run to the ground, really. But thank you for stopping by and checking out this episode of Scatterbrain Slurping Coffee with Bill. I did want to get some things off my chest. They're just coming out, weird. But it is what it is. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to project here. And where's my remote? See if I can make this work today. Y'all have a fantastic day. And you know what to do. We'll catch you later.